Man, so what a horrible game our Jacksonville Jaguars put together, man. We had a home matchup against division rival. The Houston Texans and the Jaguars lose by the most boring score of 13-6. Now the Jaguars dropped to 2-3 and the Texans improved to 1-3-1. Yes. We gave the Houston Texans their first win of the year, and it's pretty fitting because this is now the ninth game in a row the Jaguars have dropped to the Texans, and it's I don't know why. I don't know how it's possible. I don't know how the Jaguars just can't beat the Texans. You know, they're not this NFL juggernaut, but whatever. I mean, respect to them. They won this one fair and square, man. And this one was disappointing because it just, I don't know about you guys, but it just felt like, you know, with the fan base, we were all so excited about this game. You know, it finally feels like we have a competent football team, an above average football team. This is a great opportunity to, you know, go 3-2, 2-0 in the division, really establish ourselves and, you know, kind of show that, look, we are a good team. But the Jaguars came out there and it just felt like there was no juice. And I look around at things and look, like Trayvon Walker, you know, he won a national championship last year. Trevor Lawrence won a national championship 4 years ago. Doug Peterson won the Super Bowl 5 years ago. So all these different players have been successful, but Jaguars fans, for example, have nothing. You know, we have no area to be complacent about where we are because we haven't had much success. You know, we're finally excited about this team, and the Jaguars fans looked so much more excited than the Jaguars team. And it's super frustrating. And, you know, really the first thing we're going to talk about is, you know, stating the obvious with Trevor Lawrence. Trevor was terrible. Go by the numbers, 25 of 47 for a 53% completion percentage, 286 yards passing, 0 touchdowns versus 2 interceptions. It was a terrible, terrible performance by him. And the thing that stinks is that, look, it's not like there's this one or two things that needs to be corrected and he's going to be good. There's so many things going wrong with him, from overthrows to being inaccurate to making bad reads. There's been bad decisions made. He's not seeing the field very well. I mean, it literally looked like you took a quarterback. You know, the Jaguars need to call up a quarterback, so they called up a quarterback on Tuesday, showed them how to use the Jaguars offense and threw him in there because it looked like he had no rhythm with this offense and just no rhythm with this team, and just, I don't know. It looked really, really weird. And I'm not going to go super into Trevor Lawrence this video because tomorrow I'll release a full video about Trevor Lawrence, just analyzing him and discussing what's going on. But, you know, I'll be honest with you, I don't know how to fix it. I mean, I know some people say, oh, we need to, you know, dummy down the playbook. And no, I don't want to do that. You know, I don't want to do a Blake Bortles type of playbook where you're limiting him from certain plays. Like, I want to keep having the whole entire playbook open. I want to keep having him throw the ball all over the place, trying to make these throws, you know, but there's corrections that Doug Peterson absolutely needs to make because we need better quarterback play. I mean, it's crazy with Trevor Lawrence. Just this 2 weeks ago, he was the AFC Player of the Week after he demolished the Chargers, and now the last 2 weeks he regressed and he looks really bad. So I don't know with him, but things have to change. And I know a lot of people, you know, he's really been the talk the last 24 hours. And look, if you want to go out here and say Trevor Lawrence is a bust, look, that's fine. You know, you can go and say that. I'm not going to, because right now when you're talking about Trevor Lawrence, nobody is sitting here saying that he's good. The only thing that people are saying is that maybe he can become good. You know what I mean? And right now we're just holding out hope. And I know I put this on Twitter and I'll probably keep saying it. And that's that my stance on Trevor Lawrence is that I believe he's the answer, because if he's not the answer, then we're absolutely screwed. So I'm kind of sitting here hoping that, look, you know, Trevor Lawrence, one thing that we all know, look, he's going to get at least 3 years to be our quarterback. I know people are going to say, oh, we need to move on, this, and that. Like, if you're being honest and you're not on the Trevor Lawrence train, you know he's going to be our quarterback next year. So it's all about, can he improve? Can he get better? What do the Jaguars do around him? You know, and all that. So really, I'm going to stick with Trevor Lawrence, and we're going to be able to give him some fair criticism. But man, it's been really bad the last couple days, and last couple games, and he needs to be better, because if we're being honest, he's, you know, all 3 of our losses we can pin on him. You know, if he plays marginally better, makes a couple different throws here and there, we're 5-0, which is, it's maddening It's maddening, but we're going to move on. I'll talk about him more tomorrow. Now, this game didn't make sense. I'm going to take a step back. This game didn't make sense because the Jaguars on offense had 422 yards and the Texans on offense had 248 yards. The Jaguars had over a football field and a half of more yardage over the Texans, but they wind up losing by a touchdown. And it's clear that two things changed this game. The opening drive of the second half, where Trevor Lawrence threw a touchdown threw an interception in the end zone. What was that throw? That was just inexcusable. It wasn't a great play by the defense. It was literally, why are you throwing it there? You're throwing into a crowded corner of the end zone. Not the play to make. It was an easy interception. Trevor could have ran it for a touchdown. Maybe even he could have ran it in for a touchdown. It was bad. And it was like, really? That's what we do? And another thing was Trayvon Walker's penalty. Terrible, terrible penalty. I don't know what he's thinking, and then I don't know how you respond to it because, he's like, the coaches are over there, like, slapping his helmet. I don't know. It's just, I like to see players getting held accountable, and that's boneheaded, man. That you would have had them at a 3rd and 15 before that play, because you would have been offsides. 3rd and 15. They're not going to overcome a 3rd and 15. The defense had been good that day. The defense had been good. So, and they wind up scoring a touchdown that drive. And then, the Jaguars on offense just, it's pathetic, us trying to get a game-winning drive nowadays. So some more things that I want to point out is that, look, the Jaguars, they've had 3 losses, and each of those losses have been by single digits. And it's maddening because, there's certain plays that if you change them up, they could have led us to victory. And mostly if Trevor Lawrence plays better and he makes, these game-winning drives, these final drives of the game have been pathetic. We still need to see him, whatever. We'll talk enough about Trevor Lawrence, like I said. So some more things that we know. Look, coaching with the offense, there's some things that need to figure out. First of all, Doug Peterson needs to learn how to use his running backs. Travis Etienne this game, 10 carries for 71 yards. That's 7.1 yards per carry. Also him in a passing game, 3 receptions for 43 yards, 14.3 yards per catch. Look, I understand Doug Peterson's philosophy of you pass to win, you run to drain the clock out. But at some point, you need to understand what the offense is best at, and you need to lean on that. You can't go by what do I like in an offense? What do I like? This offense is going to do what I like. No, you got to play your personnel. You got to understand what is your team doing good and lean on that. And I know he's this passing guy. And look, I would rather have a passing coach than a running coach because passing is more exciting. But man, when you're running the ball effectively, that's what, we got to lean on that. Also, the wide receivers are officially inconsistent. The first 3 games, I felt like they were great. In the last 2 games, just non-existent. Our 2 best top receivers, Christian Kirk and Zay Jones, combined for 4 receptions for 23 yards. It just feels like at this point, the Jaguars need an alpha. They need a true number 1 wide receiver. And I know we thought Christian Kirk might be it, but, they needed a guy that goes out there and it comes down with every catch. Our wide receivers, I know we give a lot of crap to Trevor, but they're dropping passes. We're granted, you can make hard catches. There can be catches out there that, maybe a lot of receivers don't make, but you make it. Why don't you go make a play? It's frustrating, and that's what the Jaguars need, man. They really need that alpha wide receiver on the field that comes down with everything. The Jaguars don't seem to have it. Christian Kirk, nice player, but he seems like more of a wide receiver too, more of a complement type of player. And other than that, shout out to Marvin Jones. He quietly had over 100 yards receiving, so that was good. Evan Ingram had a bunch of yardage, but man, it's just really inconsistent play out of our wide receiving core. The defense, I don't really have too many complaints about the defense. Now, if I were to be a little bit critical, there were no big plays. You had no turnovers. The first game without any turnovers, and we know how much of a momentum shift getting turnovers is. And also, your only big play was 1 sack. Outside of that, but I don't have too many complaints. But isn't there a theme with most of these bad teams? Look at the Thursday night game. Both teams are saying our defense was great. Offense couldn't do anything. Well, nowadays, there's plenty of good defenses, I think. there's plenty of good defenses, but the offense, you need to have a good offense. And that's what's, like I say so many times, like quarterback is so important, because if you have an elite quarterback, that's what takes you over the top. That's what gets you from 2-3 to, 4-1 or whatever your record would be. So, the defense was fine. Not too many complaints, but, I would have liked to see a little bit more splash plays. Now, to sum everything up, I don't know what we are right now. I really don't know what we are. What I know is that we're very inconsistent. I mean, the Jaguars, they go and blow out the Colts. They go and blow out the Chargers. Then the next 2 weeks just drop eggs. And right now we're 2-3. I could so see us next couple weeks. We beat the Colts again. Also, we're 3-3. We feel good. We take down the Giants. We're 4-3, and it's like, oh my gosh, we might be good. And then I could see us being cocky going into the Denver game and just getting blown out by Denver and like London. It's just going to be so up and down. And I mean, that's kind of how some of these teams are when they're in our stage. They're up and down. But, we'd like to see some consistencies, because, man, I got so excited before this game. And I know this has been a very, very sad victory or loser Monday, because you look around, every other team in the AFC South won except the Jaguars. So we totally just dropped a whole entire game down in our division. We lose to a division opponent. We lose to the only team in the NFL without a win. It's just, it's maddening. And we can't beat the Texans, which is also maddening. We have a struggling quarterback right now. We have, I feel like, a lack of offensive identity. I can't really tell you what this offense does good yet. I mean, we have some games where James Robinson is good, Etienne is good. We have games where the passing game is good, where Christian Kirk is catching everything in his way. Then we have games where, players decide not to show up. And another thing I know is that our defense is pretty good. So overall, when you look at this, the Jaguars are in third place in the AFC South. Could have been first place, but with this one and everyone else winning, we dropped to third place. AFC South kind of looks like what we expected it right now, with the Titans at 1, Colts at 2. Like, I can't believe the Colts are number 2 in the division. Jaguars 3, Houston 4, and Jaguars are still in this because the AFC South is just so sketchy and not a great division. But man, we just got to be better. We need better out of this team, and the fans deserve better. I'm sorry for the way these Jaguars are playing. It stresses us all out, and I know it was not fun. It was great being at the game, but it's not fun when you leave being like, what the hell did I just watch? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, let me know what you guys think about this one. If you can, definitely drop a like on your video on the way out. If you guys aren't already subscribed to the channel, subscribe. It's free, right? But with all that said, thank you guys for watching. Go Jags.
Okay, Jacksonville Jaguars, too much for your crew to handle. Keep it lit, and this is the #1 YouTube channel by UCF Jaguar. Yeah, we about to blast off. If you've been a fan, then this is the dopest platform. Yeah, never hold back. Gotta represent for the teal and black.